All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I, Dave, the real music observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you, just like me. Dennis DeYoung, in his most recent Facebook post, unless he's got another one that I didn't see, says goodbye to Roseland and goodbye, I believe, to Styx. He talked at length about the song Goodbye Roseland from the Brave New World album, a very disjointed album because the other guys in the group were kind of recording their own stuff somewhere, and Dennis was recording his own stuff. And really, the whole album, I mean, there's some good material on this album, but this won't go down as Styx's best effort. You already had a rift probably there developing, and it's again just a tragic way for this band to kind of taper off in the past. I know, if you're a Tommy fan, I know The Mission was a great album and so forth. And I'm not trying to deny that. I think Styx, like I said in one video, they're just really trying to establish a new sound for the band. If you think it's just they're going back to like Mademoiselle or something and they're trying to tap into that, there's maybe 10 or 20% truth in that, but I really think if you listen to The Mission, there's a new sound there. And Dennis, love him or hate him, brought a completely unique and different perspective, both writing and producing and arranging to Styx. Dennis, I think, put the prog in Styx in the early days. Then he put more of a almost, I don't want to say vaudevillian, but there was this, like Paul McCartney used to do these sort of campy, sort of vaudevillian things and inject them into the music, and it would make for a much more listenable and interesting musical journey rather than the straight, sort of predictable rock and roll, which I think the other guys in Styx are more apt to do. Of course, for The Mission, they had some outside writing help. Dennis, though, talks about this song and waxes nostalgic for the days of old when he was in the old Chicago neighborhood and so forth. And I guess this is just a suburb right outside Chicago. And he talked at length about the meaning of all this and put it all in perspective, just reminiscing about this stuff. But I can't seem to get my brain off the fact that I think he's doing this because I think it's an end of an era. Dennis has always looked back at things and then, from certain perspectives, he's looked forward to see what's next. Edge of the Century, I think, is, especially if you listen to Show Me the Way and Goodbye Roseland together, there's a lot of similar themes there. The heroes are gone. The people you grew up with are gone. The things you used to rely on, the people you used to look up to, all of those things just evaporate, and you're left with, sort of like this emptiness and this doubt. And I think there's a parallel between being kind of rejected by his former bandmates and this music that he helped create and this life that he lived in this timeline that he lived in. It's really kind of tragic in a way that they don't see Dennis as somebody who is a decent guy who could really help continue to sort of lift the Styx legacy back up to where it deserves to be. Now, again, for you Tommy fans and you're happy with The Mission and you're happy with the youth choir or orchestra, whatever it is, that's fine. But I'm seeing a guy who's kind of giving up anyway. So for all of you Dennis haters, and there are some out there, I guess this is good news for you guys because Dennis seems to be saying to everybody, we're done. I tried. He's coming out with a lot of information. He told the truth about a lot of stuff that happened in the 90s. And, he's got the same promoter as Styx and so forth. So these guys talk and they can tell you, Styx is playing more hits. They're playing rubato and so forth because it makes sense from a business standpoint. And there's nothing really wrong with that. Dennis, though, if you look at the things he's said, he's never truly badmouthed JY and Tommy. He's just looked at them and said, "Hey, I don't get this. I don't understand why they're doing this." They created one narrative, then that narrative failed, then they create a new narrative about Dennis, and you still hear that, Dennis is impossible to work with, yet he's been touring with this band that he's with now for, over a decade. So I'm not buying any of that. Creative differences, maybe, but imagine if you had these guys all working together again. Dennis is a creative force, and whether they like it or not, I think he was the most creative force in this group. And to rebrand and to kind of just shove him aside and pretend he's not there and do interviews where you just say you want to be happy and Dennis makes you miserable and all this stuff, well, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'd hate to be Dennis DeYoung, though, and hear this stuff, because it doesn't seem like he's that guy. They keep portraying him as some other guy. And, if there was evidence that he was that guy, I would say, you know what, Dennis was just a real jerk to work with and so forth. And, these guys have every right to kind of just abandon the whole thing. So that's my video. Goodbye, Roseland. I think it's goodbye, Styx, too. And it's really a sad thing. All right. See you soon, everybody.